Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're translating some pretty dense health and fitness concepts into a dead simple automated system built specifically for busy professionals. If you've ever felt like your career is absolutely thriving, but your physical well-being is, well, barely surviving, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to start treating your body like the ultimate business asset. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We've got 6 pillars to cover: the productivity paradox, optimizing your sleep, movement and mindfulness, measuring body composition, automating diet and supplements, and finally, flexibility and daily routines. We'll hit the root of the problem and give you a low-friction hack to fix every single one. You know, entrepreneurs work 60 hours a week to avoid having to work 40 hours a week. This quote just perfectly captures the ultimate trap, doesn't it? We push ourselves to the absolute brink for our careers and our independence. But in the pursuit of all that freedom, what's literally the very first thing we sacrifice? Our health. We're trading our long-term physical longevity for short-term professional gains. Which brings us to pillar number 1, the productivity health paradox. That constant battle of health versus career. We all intellectually know health is our most important asset, right? But those back-to-back calendar invites somehow convince us it's totally fine to stop sleeping, stop eating well, and just skip the gym entirely. So 1 in 3. According to the CDC, that is the staggering proportion of U.S. adults who report not getting enough sleep or daytime rest. And honestly, knowing the high-achieving circles most professionals run in, I'd bet that number is actually much higher. Sleep is almost always the very first victim of a packed schedule. Let's move right into pillar 2, optimizing your sleep, specifically using the 3-2-1 method. And the really good news here? Fixing this sleep deficit doesn't require moving to a mountain ashram. It just takes a simple, automated framework. Enter the 3-2-1 method. This is an incredibly effective, evidence-based protocol. The 3 stands for stopping food 3 hours before sleep, which studies show prevents those annoying middle-of-the-night wake-ups. The 2 means cutting out liquids 2 hours prior, and yeah, that includes water, so you aren't disrupting your sleep cycles. And the 1? It's the hardest, but it's crucial. 0 bright screens 1 hour before bed to stop that massive brain overstimulation. Now, here's a really interesting tweak for that final hour of the day. You might think reading in bed is a safe bet, but swapping your pre-bed nonfiction for immersive fiction is an absolute game changer. Nonfiction naturally triggers business thoughts, problem solving, and makes you want to take notes. It ramps your brain up. Fiction, on the other hand, transports you. It lets your brain properly switch off and ease into deep rest. Moving beyond just rest, we hit pillar 3, movement and mindfulness, or how we actually beat the desk life. We really have to look at how our modern desk-bound routines are quietly destroying our physical and mental baselines. Consider this highly relatable little micro-narrative. Prior to August 2020, working as a medical doctor on their feet, this person's daily step count was high and their weight was totally stable. But the moment they transitioned to a sedentary desk job making YouTube videos, the step count completely crashed and body weight absolutely ballooned. It's a direct, undeniable correlation. We've all heard the phrase, sitting is the new smoking. It's terrible for your mortality risk. But you can seamlessly automate your cardiovascular health by stacking a few low-friction habits to hit that golden 10,000 steps. A $300 under-desk treadmill means you can literally rack up thousands of steps while just answering emails. Take your Zoom calls pacing the room and make it a hard rule to walk to any destination that's less than 40 minutes away. Now you might be thinking, hey, sitting safely at a desk isn't inherently stressful. But routine blood work on busy professionals tells a completely different story. It frequently reveals highly elevated stress markers and cortisol levels, born entirely from the non-stop mental load of a busy calendar. You might not feel stressed in the traditional sense, but trust me, your biology is sounding the alarm. So what do? Well, the fix isn't quitting your job. It's building in a moment of automated mental respite. Meditation actually physically lowers your blood pressure, reduces that stress hormone cortisol, drops your heart rate, and even lowers inflammation markers. Just firing up an app like Headspace for 5 to 10 minutes of non-judgmental morning meditation acts like a physical shield against the craziness of the day ahead. Okay, let's pivot from how we feel to exactly what we are made of. This is pillar 4, measuring body composition using the ultimate accountability tools. Let me introduce you to the DEXA scan. Dropping roughly $120 every 6 months on this scan is arguably the best health investment you can make. Why? Because the numbers simply do not lie. It tells you precisely how much muscle you have, your exact fat mass, and exactly where that fat is hiding on your body. And the reality check a DEXA scan delivers can be a bit of a shock. You might look in the mirror, think you look pretty skinny, and assume you're fine. But a scan might reveal you're actually sitting at 25% body fat, carrying high amounts of visceral adipose tissue around your organs. That specific type of fat is highly, highly correlated with cardiovascular disease and diabetes later in life. Let's see how powerful tracking this can be. In the first 6 months of trying to lose weight with a low-protein focus, the result was devastating, losing 2 whole kilos of muscle. But armed with that DEXA data, a simple daily habit was changed to automate protein intake. The next 6 months, a complete reversal. Gained 1.5 kilos of muscle, lost 1.5 kilos of fat. Better data drives better behavior. Which perfectly segues into pillar number 5, automating diet and supplements by removing all the friction. Once the data tells us what we need, we have to put that specific fuel on absolute autopilot so we don't fall victim to decision fatigue. There is so much noise about protein out there. The World Health Organization recommends a modest 0.83 grams per kilogram. But pretty much every fitness expert agrees. If your goal is to actively build and maintain muscle, especially as we get older, you need to be targeting the much higher recommendation of 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram. 40 to 50 grams. Trying to manually calculate and source that much protein throughout a jam-packed workday is exhausting. So, the ultimate hack? Aim for 40 to 50 grams right out of the gate. Automate a protein shake first thing every single morning, and you effortlessly knock out up to half your daily goal before you even check your email. Boom, friction removed. The exact same logic applies to your vitamins. Fumbling with 5 different supplement bottles every morning, that just guarantees you'll be inconsistent. But taking 5 minutes on a Sunday to load up a cheap plastic Dosset box from Amazon, that completely automates the process. You just pop open the day's compartment and you're done. It's peak health productivity. And finally, we arrive at our 6th pillar, flexibility and daily routines. This is all about creating frictionless end-of-day systems that protect our bodies for the long haul. Getting older definitely does not have to mean getting stiffer. Studies show that just 20 minutes of passive, static stretching using an app like Pliability or even free YouTube routines significantly reduces arterial stiffness and injury risk. Plus, holding those poses passively with some calming music doubles as a great meditative wind-down. Paired that with a simple 3-step dermatologist-backed skincare routine before bed, and your evening system is literally flawless. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. You treat your business, your career, and your calendar like these complex systems that demand absolute peak efficiency. So, isn't it time you applied that exact same level of productivity to the biological machine that actually runs it all? Try taking just one of these hacks today to automate your health and watch your baseline energy soar. Thanks so much for joining me.